Give up! Welcome everyone to the Film Vault. That is Anderson. I'm Bryan Bishop. We're here to bring you top 5 3-hour movies. Top 5 movies that clock in at 3 hours or more.
That's right.
Should this be a long episode? Should we theme this? Or, ironically, should we make it a short episode?
Both are hacky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm asking which would serve us better.
Just a regular episode? How about that? How about we just do the service of
Doing
doing the show? And you know what? We just took a quick break. I called my wife, talked to my boy. And it's hard being me sometimes, Brian.
How so? Go on.
So I'm just out there and I'm like, I just spent
freaking out my neighbors
over an hour being a completely different person as to who I am right now. But I'm not putting on an act. Like, you know, I think we both elevate like 10% maybe when the mics come on.
Could be more.
But there's something about this show and my relationship with you. And also, I drive over, I'm usually pretty mellow and subdued on the way over here. And I'm getting a little tired the time of the day we do it. And then I'll brew myself a cup of coffee. And the next thing I know, I'm jacked up and angry and trying to like... abusive and trying to like elevate the show to where I think it needs to be. Because
you're trying to elevate the show?
Yeah, because I feel like you're like, yeah, I saw it. It was okay.
Is that like starting now?
Well, when I'm getting texts throughout the week, like, should I talk about Super Mario or Air?
So, legitimate question.
So you know what I mean?
Both 90%. Oh, no.
So I'm like the guy like on ice trying to do too much, I think, too. I'm trying to make passes that probably...
Sure. You're forcing the game and as opposed to letting it come to you.
I'm yelling at the goaltender for letting in soft goals. You know, I'm doing this because...
Well, you should. That's something you should do.
The hockey playoffs have just begun, so...
How are your Pens doing?
You see, I mean, I just become enraged with like little triggers like this.
Yeah, but you know what, though? You hit about a week, you can say the same thing about the Warriors.
Mm-hmm. Oh. What happened? I heard that one of their mainstays, like a local rapper, just got tossed out of the arena.
Oh, E40?
There was an incident. Yeah, E40 got tossed.
I didn't see
for
that.
yelling at a white lady.
Oh, she probably deserved it.
One of the players is curb stomping other players.
Oh, what's that?
You see,
first of all, he was grabbed.
He stomped
He was
right
grabbed.
on his chest. It's wild.
He was
something out of like American History X.
Kind of.
I'll reverse that. It was a black guy and a white guy.
I found it quite enjoyable.
Okay. So
I didn't see it going that way.
Criteria for the 3-hour
well, it's
plus
pretty simple.
Movies. Mm-hmm.
There was one main criteria.
Yeah, right.
How to clock in at 180 minutes or more. I actually have one movie that clocks in at exactly 180.
Oh no! Oh no!
And so mine also tend towards the recent. I left off some big obvious classics, which I thought maybe would be on your list, or maybe got talked about too much. So I went towards a more recent filmography. But yeah, they had to be notable in some way. In fact, I think I am looking at these. I can't say it.
You can say it. Talk.
I love I really like all these movies.
Mm-hmm.
I might love them.
Do you?
I might.
Oh, I just realized the list that I sent you, Avery, is a touch out of order. Number 2 and number 1 need to be reversed.
I got no clips.
I was putting together. I was doing the final details on my list while helping Atticus with homework. So I did fuck up just a tad there. I'm noticing. So I apologize for that. So
you didn't need to turn your mic on for that.
Flip the. Otherwise, it would sound like I'm being ignored by the producer, which would be very, very rude. So I appreciate you putting it on your.
For the sake of completeness.
Love all of these movies. I love all.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Every single one of them I love. Every single one of them.
I think I love them all.
I am shocked at the runtime by all of them. Because I think of the movie, I think about how much I love the movie, and then I look to see the runtime. I'm like, holy shit, that's long.
Oh, there were
doesn't feel like it.
Interesting. There were plenty. I had the opposite experience, at least in my research, which is. This hard one, well, easy one to research, but also hard because there were plenty of films where I'm like, oh, I love that movie. That was a long ass movie. How long did that clock in? 2:51. I didn't cheat.
Yeah, I did a lot of that too.
Yeah. The Godfather, I was like, well, that's obviously my number 1. Nope, 2:55.
Mm-hmm. I think Godfather 2, though,
does clock in at over 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of these go down smooth.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if smooth is the right word, but all of them are very.
One of mine does not go down smooth.
They keep your attention.
Yeah, that's right. One of mine is very ambitious and divisive. I think there's people who hate this movie.
Okay. All right.
Speaking of which, I was one of the films I was like, oh, that's 3 hours easily. And I was going to put it on the list just to be contrarian. Cloud Atlas, not 3 hours.
It feels like 4 or 5.
Feels like 4 or 5.
Yeah. See, I don't have any of those. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like all of these movies do not feel like 3-hour movies because they grip you, Brian.
You know what?
They get their hooks in you.
Yes. In that sense, all of these, I would say, belie their running time. Or there was a couple I was like, oh, no shit, that's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm. That's so all of mine meet that criteria as well. They do not feel like 3-hour movies.
What's your longest film?
3 hours and 30 minutes.
Okay.
And I didn't go insane with it. There are longer movies that I did like quite a bit, but we have an also ran list for that purpose.
Okay.
I also ranked mine by shortest to longest. So I didn't want
about
to commit.
that. I thought it was a hacky bit.
It's not hacky. I just didn't want to commit to.
Hacky bit.
And I'm also all over the place. I got
Hacky bit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks in 5 separate decades
Look
I'm
at
pulling
you.
from. Yeah, a lot of range here, bro.
Not me.
I also mentioned, failed to mention earlier on about bemusing about myself and upset with my demeanor. I can't tell you how many times I walk away from this microphone and with deep regret.
Sure.
For acting the way that I did.
I understand. I listen to you.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
So thank you.
No, the regret is
encouraging.
baked in, as they say.
So I'm going to attempt on this here episode to be a more mellow Anderson.
But
and
didn't you literally just lead off by saying you come over here in a good mood and all of a sudden you're furious?
Yeah, I know. I'm going to try not to.
Oh,
I'm
I
going to
see.
try not to get mad. I'm going to try not
It's
to.
not working.
Wow.
Try not to steamroll. I know he's trying to bait me.
I got a couple of oohs on here that might push you over the edge.
What happens sometimes too with the coffee is like I'll stop talking. My tongue kind of hurts from talking so much, and I'll be like, "Wow, that was like 8 minutes straight of me just yammering." So I'm going to try and be mellow.
You know, if you called it waxing, I'll be forgiven.
Go ahead. See, this is what I gotta try and fill this Lycus time that you like to create. The long pauses.
Wait, like it's time.
It's an old bit. How many of our audience listeners,
That
how many
is
of our
a
listeners
deep pull.
don't even know who Tom Lycus is?
I don't know if Tom knows who Tom Lycus is. At this
Are
point.
you saying he's got dementia and you're trying to make
I'm just
light
saying
of
he's
that?
irrelevant.
That's hurtful.
Irrelevant.
Dump that bitch.
You spend more than $40 on a date. Should
Yes.
we talk about Lycus?
No, let's not talk more. I just
Wait, what's I know very little about.
I
Tom
just
Lycus.
quoted him, and for those of people who might be listening who don't know Tom Lycus, and then just hear me out of the fucking blue saying "dump that bitch," I don't know if this is
Yeah,
going
that's
well.
true. It might not ring true.
What's the
Especially for me trying to be a better person.
What's
better
the
version of
$40
myself.
bit? What's the
So his
He
bit was,
he was a professor.
yeah, he instructed young
Emeritus.
men on the ways of love and life, and one
Yes.
of his edicts was never spend more than $40 on a date,
this
which
was,
is hard to do.
This was when? Because we got to scale that up for inflation.
No, that's funny you mentioned that. Corolla had that same bit, which is, Tom, you've been doing this for a decade now. Can't we adjust for inflation? $40 made sense in 1991, but here we are. And $40 on a date. Flash Friday was a big thing.
You know what's funny about Lycus, and I'm sorry I didn't see the show going this direction, but Lycus, I think it was KFI, which is a big, giant, huge AM talker out here.
Speaking of bloated.
That's where he got his
3 hours,
start, I
3 hours.
believe.
Yeah, he did like political
He was
talk.
a political talk guy, yeah, and he got out of it to make money, right? And he just started talking sex and
Ironically,
relationships.
the money
And,
is
like,
in
where would he be?
political talk.
Yeah, if he stuck with that,
Yeah.
like he would be.
You know what? Credit where it's due. He's an effective broadcaster.
He is
had
very,
a lot
very
of fans, and the guy had a groove.
He was very. We shared a studio with him, so I watched him work for 17 years.
I watched him drink for 17 years.
And he drank and he stood. He always stood. And he was genius because he got to the point where he got tired of talking, unlike me. And he would like set up calls. He would get calls on the line that would just argue with each other. And he would just literally like stand
Sit
back. He wouldn't sit. He would stand back, drink his wine, and like read like newspapers. This was before phones and stuff. He would just be like reading
That's right.
newspapers, talking to the producers. And like the show was just going on without him. Very entertaining too, with two callers just yelling at each other.
Did
I'm
you?
surprised Brian hasn't tried that yet. Just set
With
you
this
off
show.
and then
You know
just
what?
swell his wine.
Avery,
he
can
does.
you argue with him?
He does do that. Like you set me up and then you kind of just sit back and then you enjoy me yelling and screaming. And
Well, that's true, but I don't sip wine and read the newspaper.
I'm going to be a nicer version of myself.
Oh, how about
Here.
that? Starting now.
Yeah.
How did you appreciate that he talked hockey? He did the man.
He
loved
did
hockey.
like hockey. He did like hockey quite a bit. Okay, can we get off fucking Lycus? Jeez.
I like how you said we weren't going to talk about Lycus, and we just did a 5-minute chunk.
It was educational.
Speaking of chunk, he's a large man.
All right, Brian, we didn't have to go there.
Sorry. Well, he is. Was.
I used to always find him researching himself and reading articles about himself. Every time I look over his shoulder to see what he was looking at. Because he'd hang around the studio sometimes.
Yeah, he was there
He'd
late.
finish that bottle of wine and read about himself.
Picture of health.
Uh-huh.
Mm,
Lycus.
interesting.
He sounded a lot like Sam Kinison. You notice that?
A more dialed down. He never screamed. He
I think
wasn't
he was
a scream,
friends with Sam.
but he had a similar tone.
What are we doing? Let's talk. Are we trying to do?
Let's talk 3-hour movies.
All right, Brian. I don't want to hear
That
your
wasn't,
like
that
us.
wasn't a good like us.
Really?
Well, I haven't. That was good.
I always do the like us. Really.
Do you care?
Oh, I used to get so mad at his producers. I miss Dino though. I love Dino.
like
His,
that
his
guy.
phone screener. Yeah, he was good.
He was a little manic.
There's reasons for that.
Oh, really? What was that?
We were friends. We hung out. Dino and
yeah,
I.
Yeah.
I love that Dino. Dino and I produced a show together for a while. All right,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
He had a lot of energy.
He did. All right, what am I
Where'd
doing?
that come from? He's just a upbeat guy.
I think it was chemistry.
Like you two together. Hitting it off. Chemistry.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Let's talk movies. All right.
Long movies.
We already talked about what the criteria was. Anything? Oh, hey, I sent you both a little something, which is a file of the recently found Wilhelm screams, which we talked about a little bit on the Flickfession episode. But while we were doing top 5 Wilhelm screams last week, right around the time that we're recording this episode, it looks like they unearthed the original recording of the Wilhelm screams with the direction being directed. And I sent it to you, Avery.
Yes.
Is there any way you can play it through your computer, or is that too tall of an order?
No, I should be able to. You might need to give me a second so I can send it on over.
Have you
but
heard it yet,
yes.
Brian?
I had heard what was attributed to the original session in my research, but I don't
No,
think I've
because
heard
that
this.
happened. This actually got released after we did our research, and or after.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
I was reading. I was getting tons of emails last week. People going, "Can you believe this?" So I was after we did the top 5 Wilhelm screams. I read a couple articles on. I was trying to get to the bottom of like what did they find. I talked about it last week on the Flickfessions episode, but. Like we said, it might have been the physical media that they found, but I don't know if they've ever released the entire all 5 of the screams, and you can hear the direction as well, which is really interesting. It was actually asked for it to be a painful scream.
Oh.
Because he's...
Being bitten by an alligator.
Yes.
I have the sound. If we're ready for it.
I am ready.
I'm hype.
That's just a...
That's tone. That's what they call tone in the business. All right. Here's.
A man getting bit by an alligator and he screams. Okay, quiet. Hey, quiet. Stood out towards me. Okay, right in the...
The first one you did up here was much better. Oh! No, not an owl. A real scream of pain.
That's the iconic one.
I like this last one. It sounds tired. That's my favorite one. I like that last one. I do like that last one.
They did cherry pick the most ridiculous one.
Yeah, they did, right? But it was the most ridiculous time for movies, too, 1951. Why has he got to be bit by an alligator? And why do they have reverb on his voice? Are they in a giant hall? Or did they put the reverb on his voice for the clean take, which makes zero sense?
Well, I think the actual scene they're scoring to or has the
they're looking for that particular sound clip edit for the movie that they're doing. But for them to label it man being bit, they should have put, like, if you're going to go that far, put the title of the movie as well. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Because it's just it's going to go in the sound library. It could be a man just feeling lots of pain, being bit by
'cause
any animal.
What if we're looking for a sound of a man getting bit by a bear? There's
Right.
no good alligator.
It sounds different. Doesn't it sound different?
I do like man being bit by an alligator. Daggone.
Yeah.
Like the guy at the beginning.
Can we hear it all again? Because it's so of
Yeah.
its time.
The
It's so.
the unenthusiastic sound of
And
sound artists.
listen to and they're so lackadaisical about it too, which I'm
Man
kind of
getting
surprised
bit
by
by an
because hold on,
alligator screams.
because there's all sorts of noise. They're having a party in that
something's going on.
studio
Yeah,
in
sure.
that booth. And they're like, "Shut up, everyone, quiet down!" And they're just you would think that they'd be like, "We have very professional equipment here. We cannot let anyone around it. Everything has to be super quiet."
No, they're hanging out and smoking.
Yeah, they're hanging around smoking, and we were probably talking to some dames. All right, here, let's hear it.
Pretty cool.
From the top.
A man getting bit by an alligator and he screams.
Okay, quiet. Hey, quiet.
Stood out towards me. Okay, right in the...
And he just gets right into it.
The first one you did up here was much better. Oh! No, not an owl.
That one's
A real
terrible.
scream of pain.
There's something haunting about that last one.
Yeah.
There's something on. Now, say what you want about it, and it's goofy, and it's a meme. It's an audio meme. I could never do something like that. He is very talented,
I have
right?
to get a couple of beers in me.
I'm sorry.
I'd have to get a couple of beers.
Oh, I thought you were saying you could do it with a couple of beers.
No, I'm saying to approach that, I would need a couple of beers.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I could.
Right.
Man being bit by an alligator. Spring.
The disinterested, jaded Foley artist.
Who's slating for the
Sheb Woolley. Sheb Woolley, assuming that it is. I'm pretty confident that it is. It seems like most people, his own wife thinks that it's him that did that. So
That was good direction, though. Like, initially, he didn't sound like he was in pain. It sounded like he was
Yeah.
he was inconvenienced.
He actually says ow in the second take. Ow!
There's not ow. Not ow.
All right, let's get to our long-ass movies. Let's do this.
It's a long time to get to these long movies. Number 5, can I go first?
Yeah, why are we doing this?
Who knows?
You don't know?
You suggested it.
You know why?
Does it have to do with the Killers of Flower Moon?
That's exactly why.
Oh, is it
Bryan.
really?
Yes.
Oh, that was a random one.
Marty Scorsese decided that he's not going to make anything that takes less than half of a work day to watch. So his new one that he's got coming out is...
The long anticipated.
long
I
anticipated.
think it was on your winter preview
I know,
last
dude.
year.
I thought at one point it was supposed to come out last year. In fairness to me, and
they kicked it a whole year? They didn't even bother with spring.
Killers of the Flower Moon, and it comes in at 3 hours 26 minutes.
Yeah, the recently announced 3 hours and 26 minutes.
Jesse Plemons going to be crushing it. All right. Very excited about the Killers of the Flower Moon, and in anticipation, we are celebrating with a look at some of the best 3 hour plus movies ever made.
I saw him in Date Night recently. He crushes.
God, he's good.
Chews up the scenery.
Please do not besmirch my wife. You watch all the way through the end credits? Continues to be funny.
Shit.
Continues to be funny.
Oh, yes. Yeah. His plan.
Downstairs? Yeah. In the basement?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
it's
did
good
see that.
stuff.
Very good.
Enjoyable. Also, some heavy hitter directors on my list. I think you have to have a certain cachet as a director
Gary.
to earn a 3 hour
His name was
film.
Gary. I'm
Fucking
sorry.
Gary.
To earn a 3 hour film, you have to have a certain cachet as a director.
I agree. I think, or you have to be a Marvel movie.
Save. Number 5 for me.
Bri.
Number 5 for me. You know, I think I was thinking about it, and this was 13-year-old balding Bryan's idea of a great movie. This was like the first movie I saw where I was like, that's great. That's the best movie I've ever seen.
My nightmare is bumping into you as another 13-year-old right after you saw that movie and you trying to explain to me why it's great. And
Do you know where I'm going with this?
I don't, but just the idea of you feeling like you know something and like you feel like you're cultured now because you just watched a 3 hour plus movie.
I fear that it doesn't hold up, which is why I haven't seen this in 20 years.
Uh-huh.
That said, I kind of want to revisit JFK.
Oh.
JFK.
Back and to the left.
JFK. 1991, JFK, Oliver Stone's JFK. Clocks in at 189 minutes. The first draft of the screenplay, Anderson, was 190 pages long. Eventually pared down to 156 pages for shooting. And like I said, I saw this when it came out. I might have seen this. I think I saw it in the theater. Either way, this is one of those double, when you rented a double cassette, what I'm sure exists in all of our memories. I'm sure you rented the double cassettes of God.
I almost said like 2 or 3 of them just now. I'm like, easy, they're on your list. Shut up. I almost did that. Fool.
But JFK was the first great movie I ever saw. I think I was convinced as a 13-year-old it was the best movie of all time.
I mean, Oliver Stone had a very particular style, and it was disturbing.
And a point of view.
Especially on the big screen to see poor John F. Kennedy's head to come apart like that. Like
Over and over again.
We've all seen the Zapruder tape, but until you see that movie on the big screen, it's like, I don't need to see that. It's really disturbing.
It's
right?
upsetting.
But also, I don't need to see that story unfold for 3 plus
really?
hours.
Oh, I
That
disagree about
conspiracy
that.
theory of a fucking movie. I'm out. No.
I found it compelling. But again,
Your 13-year-old brain could not understand what was happening.
I was confused.
Yeah, I bet you were.
I'm like, wait, is Kennedy dead or is he not? Because they don't show the footage till the end.
Why is Jackie so upset? I don't understand. She doesn't like blood on the dress? Is that what's upsetting her?
Did Jim Garrison do this?
All right, number 5 for me, Bryan, is the shortest movie on my list. And it clocks in. If we have crossover, I would imagine it's here. 1993, a little movie came out.
Nope.
3 hours on the nose.
Nope.
Vatos Locos Forever. I'm talking about Blood In, Blood Out,
You assigned this to me.
also known as Bound by Honor. My God, is this a glorious film? It's fan-fucking-tastic.
Yep.
It is. This is the movie
Not on my list, so feel free.
that I would recommend, like just strangers. My 7-Eleven guy, who I had a relationship with because I come home like from Loveline, get back to Long Beach around 1:15, 1:30 in the morning.
This is a racist thing where you're like, hey, bro, hey, Andre, you would probably appreciate this movie.
No. He's a big white guy.
Okay.
He always
He
wanted to go to
wasn't one of
film school.
the Lobos.
He was not one of the Lobos. No,
Lobos.
he was not one of the werewolves. I can't remember his name, but God, I saw that guy a lot because I'd go and buy some beer before they, shut down before 2:00, and we talk movies and a little this and that, and I used to always recommend movies to him. He'd recommend movies to me, but
Did he ever recommend a jam?
Yeah, I'm sure he did. This
I don't know if you remember.
and The Dish were the two movies that he responded most favorably to. But Blood In, Blood Out is a saga. It's a how would you even describe it?
It's an epic.
It's an epic. Yeah.
It crosses many years. They start off as not kids, but like teen friends, right? And they end up the one dude ends up running
Well, I mean, careful. They all go different directions, but they grow up as children. Yeah, they're all like, they all have that youth in common, and they're all into the same things. But then they all end up going. It's not that far from Athena as far as the different paths that they take. Athena, which
but this came first, right?
Well, Athena is from 2022.
Just answer the question.
Taylor Hackford directs this. It does feel made for TV a lot of times. Some of the style or the lack thereof leaves something to be desired, but the story is there. That's another thing too. Is these 5 movies all have fantastic stories, which a lot of time story is not that important to me. I know that's the number one rule in screenwriting. Right. Is the story has to be there. For me, it's more characters. But if you're going to hold my interest for 3 hours, you better have both. Yeah, and the stories are definitely fantastic in this one as far as where they bob and they weave and the character arcs.
Here's how tough this list is to research. Obviously, there's lists of movies out there, best 3-hour movies. I just thought as you're describing this, I'm like, City of God. Is that a 3-hour movie? That was a really good, epic movie. 2 hours and 10 minutes.
That's it.
That's something. I'm like, this has got to be close to 3 hours if it's not over.
This is based on the true life story of poet Jimmy Santiago Baca, who plays one of the he is represented in the movie, one of the characters, and also Damien Chapa, who is the white guy who says Vatos Locos forever, probably more than anyone else.
Don't they refer to him as like a half-breed or something?
I don't
in
think
the
you're
movie?
supposed to say that.
I'm saying, don't they refer to him as such?
Damien Chapa. Now, this movie is not streaming on the old on the old Prime, but there is a Q&A with Damien Chapa, who he's made. I think he's behind like Vatos Locos, the movie, and Vatos Locos 2. I think there's like he's got a number of these. Yeah. But they're like remember back in the day when they'd make straight to video.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Sort
Which there's no
Disney
such thing
model,
anymore.
Yeah.
You know what it is now? It's like straight to Apple TV.
That's a good point.
Straight to Netflix.
Straight to Fubo. It's
Yeah.
more the
straight to.
you see it's
straight
just
to
on
Epics.
Tubi. I'm a little skeptical.
So straight to Roku. But you know what? The only one that I know that they did that was Weird, and we liked Weird. So
enjoyable.
All right. So if you're looking for, they call it Bound by Honor for whatever reason. Blood In, Blood Out is a fantastic title.
Yeah. Why the alternate title? The test audience does not like the idea of blood.
Bound by Honor. What does Blood In and Blood Out mean? I mean, is this like a vampire who's drinking the blood and then peeing the blood? I mean,
this is about. Never mind.
These men are all bound by the same thing, which when you think about it,
honor.
It's honor. They're all looking for honor in their own way.
Even the bad guys.
It's all honor and respect.
Number 4 for me is my most divisive movie. I think there are some people who really dislike this. However, I love it. I was informed by Giovanni and others that explaining that I own this movie on DVD is not the flex that I think it is. It's not a flex. I'm simply trying to point out I have loved this movie for many years, and I purchased it when DVD was at the height of its power, and thus it is one of my favorite films.
Do I like it?
Rugrats in Paris.
Oh,
Sure, your mic on.
Rugrats in Paris.
If you see it twice, it cut up to 3 hours. No, I don't think you like it nearly. Well, you don't like it as much as I do, but I think you do like Magnolia.
No.
Magnolia.
Roller coaster.
Indeed. 1999's Magnolia, written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, clocks in at 188 minutes. It's interesting. So Paul Thomas Anderson has, in recent years, come around on the length of this film in a Reddit AMA in, when is this? It is 2009. But it was recent. He was asked, what would you tell yourself to do if you can go back when you shot this film? And he said, quote, chill the fuck out and cut 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
In an interview with Mark Maron in January of 2015, Paul Thomas Anderson, he was asked if he had the opportunity to recut the film. He said, quote, "I'd slice that thing down. It's way too fucking long. It's unmerciful how long it is." I find it to be compelling throughout. It never drags. Really.
You like watching Jason Robards die for hours on end?
You know what? I guess if it does drag, that's maybe.
Could we just cut that out completely?
No, because then you lose the Phil Parma story, and that's how Tom Cruise comes back into the fold. The whole theme is about bad dads and bad parenting, and you take this across generations. So I would keep the Robards, but you're right. Robards mumbling to the camera maybe was 5 or 10 minutes too much.
I've said this before on the show. My experience with this movie was very unique, and I'll never forget. I've seen it since, similar reaction, but in the theater, very excited to see it, thinking this might be one of the best movies I've ever seen. I am so excited to add this to I think of movies as friends, and this could be like one of my best friends forever. I'm gonna watch this over and over.
Do you want to borrow my DVD?
10 minutes later, I'm like, if I leave now, I could probably catch Buffalo 66 or something that's playing across the theater. Across the hall, and then like 10 minutes later, I'm like, this. You know what? Despite this is life changing. Like my life will never be the same after watching this movie. When the fuck is this thing over? Yeah. It was a real roller coaster.
Robards went on a little too long. Also, the little rapping kid, who I think was supposed to be I read some backgrounds on this movie that was supposed to be a much bigger part of the story, and that just wasn't working. That kid you could have cut out entirely. He had no effect on the plot whatsoever.
I barely remember the rapping kid.
Remember he raps to John C. Reilly, the cop. He's like,
oh yes. There's also like hidden messages, like up on the roof. There's that where the lady shot herself and went down through.
There's a lot of hidden messages.
There's like a rope that spelled out something. I think
the
a chapter
8
from
and
the
2. It's a Bible verse.
The Bible verse, right?
Yeah,
I was like
Revelations.
I remember being pissed about that too. It's like, you really think I like your movie enough to go home and crack open a Bible?
Yeah.
No.
Start looking things up.
But PTA, you can do no wrong.
But
I love it.
The vast majority of it really worked for the game show stuff, the Julianne Moore stuff, the John C. Reilly and Melora Walters. It all worked. Oh, I loved Quiz Kid Donnie Smith.
Like the frogs?
William H. Macy.
Like the frogs?
I got it earned it.
I cruise through that intersection all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all
the
the time.
What is Magnolia and what?
It's not Magnolia.
Oh, it's not Magnolia?
No, the cross, it's
what a twist.
Sherman Way in Reseda.
See, when we do our Film Vault city tour of filming locations.
I've been meaning to do a video, probably drag Atticus into it, of that corner right there, because it really is the PTA corner. It's in Reseda. I think that's the cross street. What's interesting?
It's got that store with like the cowboy on it, right?
Yeah. It's the trading post is right there.
Yeah.
And one of the best Chinese foods places I've ever been to, but it's all like tagged up. It looks like absolute hell, but it's so good. A&W Seafood is right there. And that's where the frogs, and there's a car accident. However, I did pause it, and it's obvious it is that intersection. But what's strange is I paused it, and it says Laurel Canyon. So I don't know if they put Laurel Canyon signage up. It's bizarre. You don't even see it unless you pause it. So I really studied that scene at one point. I don't know.
Are you sure about the intersection?
120%.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt.
I don't like to go over 100%. I just said 120. I tried to outdo the 110.
180 minutes.
What's really cool about you've been there. You're familiar with this.
Yeah,
intersection?
grew up in Reseda, so I
know what's right
once
there?
a day.
You stand in that intersection. You know what else is right there? Paul Thomas Anderson related. The marquee for the opening of Boogie Nights.
Oh yeah,
it's right there. So he's done some massive things in that intersection right there in the middle of the valley.
Pretty sweet.
Pretty goddamn sweet.
And it's pretty out of the way. There's not really a reason you would be kind of in that area.
It must
unless
mean
you're...
something to him because he grew up out there. Or maybe he just he got to know the permit office and he's like, that intersection could work too.
That's easy.
Yeah. That theater, that marquee's still there, and I'm every time I drive by, I hold my breath. I'm like, please still be there, because they're gonna rip it down.
Yeah.
It's like an abandoned building, has been forever. It's a shame. Number 4 for me.
Please.
This is Blood and Blood Out was 3 hours. 1978. My number 4, which is a 3-hour, 3-minute movie. I don't need to go on and on about the Deer Hunter. Do I have to
I'm
go on
glad our
and on
lists are
about the Deer
taking these
Hunter?
routes. No.
Deer Hunter it's an epic story, and
the story of the Deer Hunter and what happened to Michael Cimino is just as interesting.
well, yeah, Gates of Heaven is what ultimately undid him and undid all our tours as we knew them back then, because the Deer Hunter led to bigger things for Cimino, and he abused his powers, as so many people do in positions of power. That's a great story. There's a great documentary called The Final Cut, all about the making of Heaven's Gate, which I highly recommend as well.
I want to see that. I'm going to give a shout out to Heaven's Gate.
I think Heaven's Gate, if we see the director, if we see what he actually initially meant audiences to see, I think Heaven's Gate is a masterpiece. But I've only seen the studio cut. So, anyways, the Deer Hunter, kind of early shades of Full Metal Jacket, as far as we get to see what they're like before they're in action. In Full Metal Jacket, it's boot camp, but here we get to see them in the pit, Allegheny County, and steel workers, and they're blue collar, and they have this wonderful wedding scene, which
takes up half the movie.
It's really, you get entrenched with these guys and their significant others, and you really see them as human beings before you see them as soldiers, which a lot of times it's hard to even tell soldiers apart in movies because they're all wearing the same thing and they have short hair. And
that's true.
There was no denying that you were going to totally understand and know these characters through and through, and the iconic ending, which if you have not seen Deer Hunter yet and you don't know how it ends, I mean, it is life changing.
I feel like it exists in the zeitgeist, but I saw it in the film Valdera.
The cover of on
it's right there.
Prime is like they show a still from the end of the movie. That's the cover. That's
they're leaning in.
Have you seen the Deer Hunter, Avery?
I have not.
I need to get the fuck out.
No, just because I hear it's so depressing and bleak that I need to lock up the time to.
I wouldn't call it an enjoyable film
to do it. That's the only thing stopping me though from doing it is just that idea of when I sit down like a Sunday afternoon.
I think you would.
Do I want to? I know I would love it, but I just need to consciously be ready.
You can smell the stale Miller light.
Yeah,
Miller. I don't even know if they had Miller light. It's just so 1978.
Oh, I'm sure I'd love it, but it seems like a textbook example of movies you never need to see again. Of one of those one and dones.
When I was saying, I've seen like probably 4 or 5 times.
Really?
When I was a kid, I saw this all the way through, probably for the first time when I was like 9 or 10. Because for whatever reason, they used to show it on KC, not KCET. Was it KC? Channel 13, KCOP? They showed it on a local channel out here.
Is that like PBS?
I think it's KCET.
Uncut.
What?
Uncut, no commercials. As a tribute to, it might have been like on Veterans Day or something. Yeah. So I remember hearing just like, first time I was flipping the channels and I heard the word cunt. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Stick around here. What's going on?
What's going on? Maybe I'll see one.
Bryan.
I didn't say what it was. You know what, though? I will say that with the ending of the film existing in the zeitgeist, I, of course, knew what was coming. It definitely colors how you view the first half. It becomes more tragic, in a way, like seeing these guys having one last hurrah together.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't think...
That is the movie. I mean, that's the entire movie.
Right, but I'm saying if you saw it in the theater in 1978, you probably didn't get that feeling as strongly if you didn't know what was coming. If that ending came as a shock to you.
I'm confused.
If you see it for the first time and it's theatrical run, 1978, you're not going to feel the same way about the first half with not knowing how the movie ends.
Oh, so you got to know the end?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it colored.
It feels probably more foreboding now rather than joyful.
I watched it in the context of I know it's coming. Yeah.
I think it's more tragic and more devastating if you don't know it's coming, though, and like you care for this guy.
The end, yes, completely. Yeah. But whereas the beginning takes on a totally different tone if you do.
When I was saying all 5 of my movies go down smooth, I caught myself.
This is not it.
I was thinking about Deer Hunter. Hey, it's good. It's very good.
I'll find the time.
It's
high on my list.
Find the time. It's only 3 hours, 3 minutes. All right.
It feels longer.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It doesn't. This does not feel longer.
I'm not concerned about the length. I'm concerned about the feeling I'll feel afterwards.
My number 3 goes down smooth.
It's just. Do you know what the ending like?
Vaguely, I know. I don't know what the outcome is. I just know that it
involves a game.
The main game that it involves. I don't know what the outcome is, what the scenario is, who the players are. I just know the game that is being played. And I think that's all most people know. I don't think people really know anything beyond
even
that.
If you know what the game is, though, and you haven't seen the scene,
I don't think
it's the actions of characters that really make it drive it home.
Totally.
Yeah.
John Cazale's also in this.
That's right. One of his 5 films.
One of his best films.
His final film.
Smoothest.
Well, I think I mentioned it on a recent episode, but in order to get him in the movie, De Niro personally put up the insurance money because they couldn't get him insured. He was dying of cancer.
You did mention that recently. That was very interesting. I know it's hard to tell sometimes. I'm not being sarcastic at all.
I don't know where to go with this.
It was very interesting.
I like the Mellow Anderson screamed at Avery to get the fuck out.
No, I had to.
No, you didn't.
George Zunza is in this as well. He played the main Russian tank officer in The Beast.
Oh, okay.
Remember
Oh my
Beast?
God, I don't remember Russian tech officers in this movie.
Remember The Beast? That show
Yeah,
went
yeah,
on
The
and
Beast.
on about a couple
The
years
Beast
ago.
of War.
Love The Beast. They just called it The Beast. Was one of the original titles, I think. The Beast. So good. All right.
Number 3 for me definitely goes down smooth. You hardly even notice that it clocks in at exactly 180 minutes. 3 hours at the time. Martin Scorsese's longest movie. I'm talking about The Wolf of Wall Street from 2013. His longest film at the time. It's since been eclipsed by The Irishman at 209 minutes.
Jesus.
And, yeah, no shit. And I guess they just literally, as we record this, I think the news came out that Flower Moon was going to be, what is it, 234 minutes?
245, 345, I think.
Okay. 3 hours and 45 minutes. I'm sorry. I was saying, whatever.
Are you talking minutes?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It gets confusing. Initially, the report was it was gonna come in at 256 minutes, but I guess it's been trimmed down by 20 or so. Interesting fun fact. We talked about this.
Do you think they floated that intentionally to see if people were going to be okay with the runtime, and then they walked it back?
That's actually probably a savvy move. We did an episode a while back, Anderson, top 5 uses of the F word, and this Wolf of Wall Street was mentioned. The word fuck is said 569 times. That's over 180 minutes. That's 3.16 fucks per minute. That's a lot of fucks.
We lost internet, by the way.
No, again.
Yeah, which sucks for the live stream or for. But I'm not recording, you son of a bitch.
Both bad.
Oh well. What can you do?
Did they really go away?
I'm recording though.
All right.
All right, cool. Take a break here.
You tell me. No, you're going to do number 3.
Number 3 for me is a 3 hour and 7 minute movie from 2022. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on Rise, Roar, Revolt, RRR, because I've been pontificating. Oh, never too recent if it's this good, Brian. There's no way I can leave it off the list just because it's recent.
Too recent.
Fuck to that. Fuck to the no on that.
Too recent.
RRR. For those of you who have not taken the plunge yet because of the runtime, do not let that stop you. I mentioned all of the stories on this list are amazing. This is like a biblical story. This story is so good. I can't believe it hasn't been told before.
It is shocking.
It is shocking. RRR. I don't know if I can oversell this movie. Can I oversell this movie?
I don't think so, because I saw it and I expected. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was great. I was blown away.
I was like, foreign language. 3 hour plus movie. There's Bollywood elements here, which I
dancing.
A lot of singing and dancing.
Yeah, I don't think I can do this. And this movie goes down smooth. And there is dancing. There is singing. There is blood. There is torture.
There's blood in and there's blood out.
There's stuff that my wife would love and my child would love. There's stuff that my wife would hate and my child would love but cannot see. This movie's got a little bit of everything.
That's right.
It's got a little bit of everything.
And it feels almost
It's like a variety show.
It's almost long in a good way, where you just
I
get
wanted more.
so much of it.
I wanted more.
It just keeps going in the best way possible.
Yeah, it never really drags.
So RRR is my number 3. 3 hours, 7 minutes long.
Disqualified.
No, 100% not. All right, and let's take a quick break.
Oh, shoot. Can I call this up?
What was your number 3?
Yeah, there it is. Number 3 was Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, yeah.
The wolf, the Lobo of Wall Street.
Brian, I get it. Hey, you know what's shocking to me? Maybe the most shocking thing that's happened in my life all week long.
Oh, my God.
You gave a positive review to a movie called Renfield.
Yeah. Why is that shocking?
What's the current Rotten Tomatoes score for Renfield?
Oh, yeah. Believe me, I had second thoughts.
Are you making a break from the church?
He only remembered when I initially gave the score from last week.
Yeah. All I heard was 76. Is it dropped?
It is. It's dropped. All right.
No Wi-Fi. All right. We'll be back in a second. I want to give a shout out to whoever used our Amazon button, banner, link, whatever you want to call it, on Anderson and Bryan to go get themselves a PlayStation PS5 console God of War Ragnarok bundle. Thank you for clicking our link there. Go ahead and do that and get whatever you're going to get. Costs you nothing.
And apparently they're not impossible to get anymore. PS5. So anyone else looking to get one, the time is now.
Yes, it is now. And by the way, that was the big purchase of the week. So thank you for being the leader in our clubhouse of people who bought things. Not to be dismayed. Other things purchased on that Amazon button include Someone got themselves a Himalaya airless paint sprayer. 2 Earthbox mobile stands. Ego Power Plus cordless string trimmer. Adidas, the aforementioned Adidas, if you listen to my take on air. Adidas Copa Mundial soccer shoes. Freybill conservation. Yeah, conservation. Conversation and conservation are way too close.
Very close.
Oh, there's just a couple of transposed letters. And
Fortunately, they're rarely used together, though.
True. Let's have a conversation about conservation. Freybill, conservation, telescoping handle net. Dodge Rand's Cummins diesel filter set was picked up. Someone got themselves a pair of Nike, aforementioned, Nike men's Air Max Torch running shoes. 3 Nerf Pro Gelfire Mythic Auto Blasters were picked up. Oh, what a great dad. Presumably you are. Casio Elite Sapphire Crystal Wristwatch. Fancy. HyperX Cloud Alpha Gaming Headset. LG Tone Style Earbuds were purchased. Someone got themselves a Step 2 Whisper Ride toy car. I think you can ride in the car. It sounds like a seatbelt and everything. So there you go. Enjoy that. For your kid, I assume, or a very small person. Shimano all-rounder cycling shoes were purchased. 3 Philips Hue smart dimmer switches. 12 sheet cross-cut paper shredder. Waterproof car cover fitted for a Mini Cooper. 2 Vivo single monitor arm desk mounts. Someone got themselves a PlayStation DualSense wireless controller. Perhaps the same person who got their PS5. Either way, thank you, whoever you are. Calamondrin citrus plant, can't be shipped to California. Nitra Stair Tread template tool. 2 garden hose spray nozzles. 2 HUM Flatter-Me gut health supplements. Saji leather laptop tray table. Finally, Hypno 5 4-pack LED shop light. Sorry, I got messed up by the name. 4-pack of LED shop lights.
It was pointed out to me by a listener, not just any listener, Giovanni, that he's been buying things, very strange, odd, off-the-wall movies, in particular, hard copies, physical media, and it's not showing up in the reads. And he's been using our click-through. So
that is odd.
He does think that Amazon, as sneaky as they can be sometimes, I don't know if that's going to cause us to be kicked off the platform. I hope not, but you don't know what kind of algorithms and AI they have listening to this. But he thinks that with
all
redundancy...
All hail Bezos.
All hail the Bays. Thank you.
That's right.
Our
overlord.
The only reason why I do this show with Bryan is because when I squint, he reminds me of you with the set. So much I love you.
That's good.
He being Giovanni, thinks there might be some kind of redundancy issues, that if you have like your web browser, or you just like go to it, if you do use our click-through religiously, thank you very much. However, there might be something to it being done over and over again, like it's in a bookmark or something. They might have updated it. So if you could just take a little peek skis over at our AndersonandBryan.com, AndersonandBryan.com, and
use the link and it'll solve all.
With that link, even if you like use that link right now and add it to a bookmark or something like that, and that's how you do your shopping.
And
much
you can
appreciated.
Check out some listener art while you're at it.
You
over
can
there.
check out the listener art. The full shows are over there. There's all sorts of stuff going over on that website. So AndersonandBryan.com. You should just put that in your bookmark, something like that. But I've noticed that the movie lists have definitely dwindled in the last couple months, and I think that Amazon is pulling a very smart, ingenious move, because they do nothing but the best. Amazon. We're gonna have wars in the future where it's gonna be like Amazon versus Sony.
Yeah, they're the corporate
bunch
wars.
Of mercenaries.
Yeah. They're gonna be sponsored.
Here are the movies that were clicked through. This is the last time.
Live streamed.
I talked at you. Excision was clicked through, I believe. No, I thought Extraction, not Excision. The Hunt was clicked through. Which one? Oh, well, it's English subtitled. That tells me which one.
Could be Mads.
Fuck to the S. It's Mad Mickelson. Coherence was clicked through. Hey, fuck to the S with Coherence. Look at that. You would be very confused by Coherence. Very confused.
I'm out. You have to read it?
No, you don't. The Sixth Sense was clicked. Coherence is what I would...
That was confusing.
Coherence is what I would assume was a COVID movie, but it was made long before COVID. But it's like a dinner party, and it all takes place around a dinner party in a small location with like the same 8 people.
Is it more or less confusing than The Sixth Sense? That's my limit.
Sixth Sense was clicked through, as well as Destroyer, which I still have not seen. Transformers was clicked through. Why did I just say it like that with vigor. Jaws, as well as Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre. I always will do that for the rest of my life. Infinity Pool is clicked through, which should not be confused with Infinitely Polar Bear.
Or Infinity War.
Or Infinity War.
No, none of those.
Meath Regan was clicked through. Plane's already clicked throughable. Does not show.
Meath Regan's fun. Go ahead and check that out if it's streaming.
Meath Regan. Oh, if I'm on a plane in the next few months.
That's a great plane movie.
Incredible but True is clicked through, as well as daughter Emily. Just Emily? Not the criminal, just Emily.
Just Emily, before she turned criminal.
Smoking Causes Coughing, and finally somebody on Blu-ray got Dinner in America. Fuck to the youth. That tells me that somebody saw Dinner in America. They saw what I saw in that movie, and they're like, you know what? I want this to be buried with me. I want to take this with me. I want to have something I can fondle that is Dinner in America. You know what I mean? They want to have it, like, within reach of their bed.
They want to be able to pet it.
Like King Tut.
Yeah, sarcophagus. They can't put it in there.
You take it with you.
Hey, whoever bought that Dinner in America Blu-ray, good on you.
I can't click on anything.
Smart move. What's that?
I'm trying to look things up. Nothing's working.
Oh, your internet's failing?
Nothing's working.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what you get when you get shoddy Cricket Wireless Wi-Fi.
That's right. I have nothing. No one to blame myself.
Sorry if you're watching on the YouTube feed. I'm sure that it's very jank.
You're not missing much.
Very jank. All right. Hey, back to the program.
Welcome back. Time to bring our 3-hour movies home. Thank God I can still access my list. Number 2 for me. It's been alluded to. And when I saw it, I remember thinking, that was enjoyable. That was well done. I have to admire the ambition, the culmination of years of effort. And the more I thought about it, I might love this movie.
It's been talked about on this episode.
It's been alluded to. 182 minutes for Avengers Endgame. Anderson is disgusted, but I stand by 2019's Avengers Endgame by the Russo brothers, the directors of Avengers Endgame, the longest MCU movie ever. I appreciate them not splitting it into 2 parts, which they very well could have done.
Well, they did Infinity War, so that kind of...
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think that's...
Civil War.
Yeah, that's nowhere near... I guess we could chase this rabbit down the hole forever. I don't feel like that's a half of this movie. But be that as it may, I never found that it dragged, and I felt it did a very deft job of wrapping up a lot of very divergent storylines. I like this movie. I might love it.
You like Buff Grimace?
The funny thing is, I remember having
great. Buff Grimace is great.
I remember having no time and no interest in like the previous Avenger movies, because I was like, what? They fight, they get back together, and it's all good. We're not going anywhere. Oh, we're going somewhere. Thanos took us somewhere, and this was the conclusion.
When everything's said and done, did he really take us anywhere?
Yes.
He did. He had lasting impact.
He took away my enthusiasm for Marvel.
Ultimately not. Yeah.
He did what?
He ended my enthusiasm for Marvel.
Stop
Once he was gone, I couldn't really give a shit.
He looked like a cartoon. He was Roger Rabbit. And what he did, for those of you who might not be completely tied in,
yeah, you're right.
Just about everyone in the theater.
What did it ultimately accomplish?
Like, that would have been ballsy. That would have been like the greatest, like, fuck you to money, most punk rock move if Marvel's like, fuck it.
That's how
Spider-Man doesn't exist anymore. What are you going to do?
He's dust.
Oh, wait, no. We'll make him exist like in multiple universes instead. How about that?
He didn't just come back. He came back 100 times.
I mean, there's one lasting effect that he had, and that guy was aging out anyways. He was on his way out.
What would have been a really baller move, like you said, punk rock would have been bring them back, and then they can go away again.
Again?
Yeah.
Nah, bringing them back just shows you the rules are there. They can bring them back whenever you want.
That's a good point.
People were crying in the theater, and you know what? I might have been one of them.
We got a little dusty.
Fuck you, Marvel. No, I wasn't crying about like people turning to dust. That was kind of funny. But the one guy, I'm not saying his name here, but they did a really admirable job about making this guy, me, care about a fucking dude that
comic book character.
Yeah, I think he's the reason I don't care anymore.
Because he's gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
He'll be back.
Really hung my hat on that guy.
I didn't really care to begin with. Like I say, they're better than they're supposed to be. They're way better than the fucking action movies we grew up with. I'm talking about Bryan and I. But it's like, okay, I don't want to go down a Marvel fucking road here. I don't want to do it.
But tell us your thoughts.
Did I send you the article about them cutting back? They're cutting back.
Yeah, I saw that. They're cutting back on everything, though. They're just getting hammered. They're just getting hammered. Movies are getting hammered.
They're still making money, though, these Marvel movies.
Oh, they're cutting back.
Did Ant-Man do really well?
I don't know. I don't look at Mojo. Yeah, that's your jam.
That's true. Well, I wish I could look it up now. I got no choice.
Number 2 for me is a movie.
Can't look up shit.
It should be seen by more people. Actually, that's not true. I mean, it's a very old movie, and I can't get
mad. You really walked that back almost instantaneously.
Because I was saying things without even thinking, which I do sometimes, and I shouldn't do that as much. This is a movie that Avery's going to appreciate because I believe your car was named after the ranch from Giant.
Yes, it was.
Is that true?
That is true.
I'm talking about 1956's Giant. This movie is G-rated, so gather the children up.
Just like Jaws.
Tell them that... no, Jaws is not...
Isn't Jaws G?
Fuck no. Jaws is like PG.
Is it PG?
No, it's at least PG. There's a man eaten alive. Many people eaten
I think
alive.
it's comically a PG movie.
It's comically
All right,
PG.
it's PG.
There's no way it's G. Like, I've been arguing with the wife about Atticus because I want to put Atticus in the pool and drag a TV out and have him watch Jaws while we both bob in the pool. That's my plan. We will do that.
He will never recover.
I know. Kind of sucks for our beach vacations. I don't want to do that. I don't want to ruin. Anyways, Giant.
I got you a yellow floaty.
George Stevens. He's one of the 5 that came back. He's one of the 5 that came back, and he is a masterful director. As
the 5 who came back, I think those who came back or 5 came back. I believe I'd look it up if I could, but I believe it's over 3 hours.
Oh, the documentary? That's a documentary series, I think.
So,
I read the book. 5 came back. It's all about these 5 directors that dropped their Hollywood careers to go over and make propaganda films for the military during World War II. It's a fascinating book.
Indeed.
And George Stevens is one of them. So the story of Giant is stars Rock Hudson, James Dean, and Elizabeth Taylor. It's pretty much a 3-hander. Rock Hudson and James Dean are very, very well fleshed out characters, as is Elizabeth Taylor. But the arcs of the 2 lead men are the things that we see in series, television series today, in really good television. But they'll take 5 seasons to actually do the arcs that take place in this one movie. While it is 3 hours and 21 minutes, it earns every single minute. I absolutely love this movie, and it's a real character study as far as absolute power and wealth and what it does to people. And I just love Giant. It's one of my all-time favorites. And it comes in at 3 hours, 21 minutes. I highly recommend this movie. It is not homework. I know it probably feels like
it was a long-ass film, buddy.
It's one of James Dean's 3 movies. It's my favorite of James Dean's movies. And Giant. You got to watch this, Giant.
I need to, yeah.
Because your car, you told me, I believe, is named after...
Yes.
What is the name?
The what?
Riata.
So
it's the Riata Ranch in Old Giant.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about oil. It's about ranching. It's about sudden wealth. And